Shadows of Vows, A Mother's Unbreakable. Stand in a cozy apartment in Portland, Oregon. The morning sun filtered through lace curtains. Elena Brooks sat at her kitchen table, a cup of tea steaming in her hands. Her auburn hair fell in soft waves, framing a face glowing with quiet excitement. Today was her wedding day, a moment she'd dreamed of, a fresh start, a family united. Her 6-year-old son, Liam, darted around the living room, his toy plane zooming. "Liam, slow down, sweetie," Elena called, her voice warm with affection. "Mom, I'm a pilot." Liam giggled, crashing his plane into a cushion with a dramatic thud. Elena laughed, her heart swelling. Liam was her world, her joy, her anchor. She wore a simple ivory dress, elegant yet understated, hanging by the door. A bouquet of daisies rested nearby, their bright petals a promise of new beginnings. Today, she'd marry Thomas Reed, a man she'd met 2 years ago at a coffee shop. Thomas was polished, tall, blonde, with a smile that charmed everyone he met. He'd swept Elena off her feet with kind words, grand gestures, and steady promises. But as she sipped her tea, a faint unease flickered. She brushed it aside. Thomas stepped into the kitchen, impeccable in a gray suit, his tie perfectly knotted. "Ready, Elena?" he asked, his voice smooth, though his eyes flicked to Liam. "Almost," she replied, smiling. "Liam's just finishing his flight." Thomas glanced at Liam, his lips tightening. "Liam, put that away. We're leaving soon." Liam paused, clutching his plane, then nodded. "Okay, Thomas." Elena frowned slightly. Thomas's tone was clipped, but she told herself he was just nervous. "Liam's excited," she said softly. "It's a big day for him, too." Thomas adjusted his cufflinks, nodding curtly. "Sure. Let's not be late." Elena stood, smoothing her dress, convincing herself it was wedding day jitters. The ceremony unfolded in a small garden venue, blooming with roses and lavender. Guests, friends, family filled the chairs, their chatter a cheerful hum. Elena walked down the aisle, Liam at her side, his small hand gripping hers. "Mom, you're so pretty," he whispered, his blue eyes shining up at her. She squeezed his hand, beaming. "Thanks, buddy. You're my handsome escort." Thomas waited at the altar, smiling broadly, the picture of a perfect groom. But as Liam fidgeted beside her, Thomas's gaze hardened for a split second. The vows were spoken, rings exchanged, the crowd clapping as they kissed. Elena felt a rush of joy. Thomas was her husband now, Liam's stepfather. Liam sat nearby during the ceremony, swinging his legs, a grin on his face. Thomas caught his eye and frowned, whispering, "Sit still, Liam." Elena heard it, her smile faltering, but she pushed the worry down. The reception buzzed with life, music, laughter, clinking glasses under twinkling lights. Elena mingled, glowing as guests complimented her dress, her happiness. Liam ran to her, tugging her hand. "Mom, can I have some lemonade?" "Of course, sweetie," she said, ruffling his hair, her heart light. Thomas approached, his expression tight. "Liam, stop pestering your mom." "He's fine, Thomas," Elena said, her tone gentle but firm. Thomas sighed, forcing a smile. "He needs to learn manners, Elena." She nodded, unease creeping in, but she told herself he meant well. Liam dashed to the dessert table, reaching for a cookie, his face bright with glee. "Careful, Liam, don't make a mess," Elena called, smiling from across the room. Thomas strode over, his voice sharp. "Liam, I said behave. Put that back." Liam froze, cookie in hand, his joy dimming. "I just wanted one." "You don't listen," Thomas snapped, loud enough for nearby guests to turn. Elena hurried over, her pulse quickening. Thomas, it's just a cookie. He needs discipline, Elena, Thomas replied, his jaw tight. You're too soft. She took Liam's hand, her voice steady. He's a kid. Let's not do this here. Thomas rolled his eyes, walking off, leaving Elena with a sinking feeling. Her friend Sarah, a blunt woman with sharp eyes, approached, concern etched on her face. Elena, everything okay? Thomas seemed harsh with Liam. Sarah said quietly. It's fine, Elena replied, forcing a smile. He's just stressed today. Sarah raised an eyebrow. That's not stress. That's control. Be careful. Elena brushed it off, but Sarah's words lingered like a quiet alarm. The party continued. Dancing, toasts, the air thick with celebration. Liam sat by the gift table, playing with his plane, keeping to himself. Thomas walked past, muttering, Can't you sit still for 5 minutes? Liam shrank, clutching his toy tighter, his small frame tense. Elena watched from afar, her chest tightening. She couldn't ignore it anymore. Later, Liam wandered to the cake table, eyeing the chocolate frosting with delight. He reached up, accidentally knocking a spoon to the floor with a soft clatter. Thomas was there in an instant, his face darkening. Liam, what's wrong with you? It was an accident, Liam mumbled, stepping back, his voice small. Accident? You're such a nuisance, Thomas hissed, raising his hand. Before Elena could react, Thomas slapped Liam across the face, a sharp, echoing crack. Liam stumbled, falling to his knees, tears spilling as he clutched his cheek. The room froze. Guests gasped, music fading into a stunned silence. Thomas! Elena screamed, rushing to Liam, dropping to shield him in her arms. What the hell is wrong with you? She cried, her voice raw with fury. Liam sobbed into her shoulder, trembling. Mommy, I'm sorry. You're not sorry, sweetie, Elena whispered, stroking his hair. You're okay. Thomas stood rigid, his face flushed. He needs to learn, Elena. He's out of control. Out of control? Elena shouted, standing, her eyes blazing. You hit my son. Sarah rushed over, kneeling by Liam. Hey, buddy, you're safe. I've got you. Elena turned to Thomas, her voice shaking with rage. This is our wedding day. He's ruining it, Thomas shot back, gesturing at Liam. You coddle him too much. Nothing justifies this, Elena said, her words ice cold. You're done. Guests murmured, some stepping closer, others turning away in disgust. Elena's brother, Mark, approached, his face stern. Thomas, you crossed a line. It's discipline, Thomas argued, his voice weaker, eyes darting around. Discipline doesn't leave a mark on a child's face, Mark said, voice hard. Elena lifted Liam into her arms, his tears soaking her dress, her heart breaking. Sarah grabbed her elbow. Elena, take Liam out of here. I'll handle the crowd. Elena nodded, her gaze locking on Thomas one last time. We're leaving. You're overreacting, Thomas said, but his confidence cracked under her stare. No, I'm done pretending, Elena replied, her voice steady. You don't touch my son. She turned, carrying Liam outside, the cool night air hitting her like a wake-up call. Mark and Sarah followed, a protective wall between her and the chaos inside. Elena sat on a bench. Liam curled against her, his sobs quieter now. I didn't mean to mess it up, Mom, he whispered, his voice breaking her anew. You didn't, baby, Elena said, kissing his forehead. I'm so sorry I let this happen. Mark sat beside her, his jaw tight. Elena, you don't need him. Liam doesn't either. I know, she said, tears falling. I thought he'd love us both. I was wrong. Sarah knelt in front of Liam, brushing his hair back. You're a brave kid, you know. Liam nodded faintly, clinging to Elena, his small hand gripping hers. Inside, the reception unraveled. Guests whispered, some leaving. The joy shattered. Thomas stood alone, trying to salvage his dignity with forced smiles. Misunderstanding, he told a friend, but the man stepped back, shaking his head. Elena took a deep breath, resolve hardening. Mark, can you get our things? On it, he said, heading back inside, his stride purposeful. Sarah stayed close. Elena, you're stronger than this. You'll get through it. I have to, Elena said, looking at Liam. For him. Liam looked up, eyes red but trusting. Are we going home, Mom? Yes, sweetheart, she said, her voice firm. Just you and me. Back inside, Elena faced Thomas one last time, her wedding band in hand. This ends now, she said, dropping the ring at his feet. Stay away from us. Thomas stared, speechless, as she walked away, Liam's hand in hers. The night stretched long. Elena packed, Liam asleep in her arms, her mind racing. Morning brought clarity. She called her lawyer, filing for an annulment. Thomas struck my son, she told Ms. Carter, her voice unwavering. I want him gone. We'll make it airtight, Ms. Carter assured her. You've got witnesses. Mark arrived with coffee, sitting across from her. You did the right thing. I should have seen it sooner, Elena said, guilt gnawing at her. You saw it when it mattered, Mark replied. Liam's safe now. Sarah stopped by, bringing Liam a toy car. For my favorite pilot, she said. Liam smiled faintly, clutching it. Thanks, Aunt Sarah. Days later, Thomas showed up at her door, disheveled, his charm faded. Elena, we can fix this, he pleaded, his voice desperate. No, she said, standing tall. You don't get near Liam again. I'm his stepfather, Thomas argued, stepping closer. You're nothing to him, Elena snapped, shutting the door in his face. She called Ms. Carter, who filed a restraining order that afternoon. In court, Thomas fought back, claiming he'd been misjudged. But the video from the wedding, Mark had recorded it, sealed his fate. The judge's ruling was swift. No contact with Liam. Mandatory counseling. Elena exhaled, relief flooding her as Thomas's defiance crumbled. Weeks passed. Liam laughed again, playing in their new apartment, healing slowly. Elena rebuilt, her strength growing, supported by Mark, Sarah, and her resolve. One evening, Liam hugged her tight. I like it's just us, Mom. Me too, buddy, she said, tears welling. You're my everything. Thomas faded into a bitter memory, his control broken by her courage. Elena knew the scars would linger, but she'd never let them define their future. Her story was a testament. Love protects, fights, and rises above all. If you like this story, please give it a like. Subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps us sharing tales like this. We're so grateful. See you soon.